So the Austin is a great ship. I think this is one of the coolest ships to be added to the game because it is very situational and hard to play, but in the right situations, you're going to have a really good time. This reload booster is pretty hilarious. The amount of damage you can pump out in such a short amount of time is kind of ridiculous, actually. We kind of just dev-struck First Blooded that Kiev. Now, he made a big mistake by going into the cap that early and bow in. But this ship, when its reload booster is active, has some nasty DPM. It is really, really, really strong. One of the other strengths of this ship is actually its YOLO potential. You have 32mm side plating, and with that comes the ability to bounce most battleship shells at close range. If you angle properly, the battleships won't be able to citadel you at all at close ranges, because they'll just bounce off that side plating. It's crazy how good it is. The other thing is you have Fletcher torps on either side, and Fletcher torps are really, 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 really good. You'll see I'm trying to angle and get him to bounce, this guy to bounce off of my belt armor. There you go, 0 damage. It's pretty insane. Here, I shouldn't have gone for torps. I probably should have just gone for the reload boost because we can pen his stern with our sap. And you can see the damage that you can put out with that sap is just kind of gross. The sap pens 36mm of armor. So, or 37? 36 or 37. Basically, it's enough for most battleship armor, but it's not enough to take out, heavily armored battleships like Montana deck armor or upper belt armor or anything like that. But if you find battleships with 32mm of armor or cruisers, wow, this sap hurts people a lot. This game, I just wanted to YOLO people, basically. I was just trying to have a good time here, so testing out the potential of this ship right now, and you can see just how insane this ship can be. I think that the ability to run these kind of full YOLO plays can really win your team some games, honestly. Sometimes there's a point in the game where you got to make a play, and this ship has that potential. You got to watch to not play overly aggressive. You'll see that later on in this video, where I get myself into some trouble and I die because of it. This ship is like, walking on a knife's edge, basically. You are incredibly strong at close range, and reasonably strong at far range. You'll notice we bounced that Vermont completely there off our side armor, and the Heisen just overpens us because our ship is so thin. Yeah, at close range, this thing's difficult to deal with as a battleship. Unfortunately, our torpedo tubes got knocked out. I think that might have been by the Heisen secondaries, so we didn't quite manage to pick him up. But we got the Vermont. I think a successful YOLO on a Vermont and Kremlin is definitely a good play. Pretty funny. I was laughing pretty hard after that one that I actually managed to do that much damage. Now, that's not a normal game. I would say this was more of a normal game, where you want to go to a flank, and you're hoping that there's no destroyer on your flank, basically. The playstyle that I've found to be incredibly fun is to just be a pest. Your detection is 9.3 kilometers with the full build, and you can see in a Cyclone it's actually 7.5 kilometers. So you can be this incredibly annoying pest where you pop your reload booster, deal your big amount of damage or whatever with that crazy DPM, and then you just go dark for a bit, and you wait until your reload booster's back up or a good opportunity strikes, and then you go again. I think this is a ton of fun, and you can see the power of the torpedoes again. We got another 14k out of those torps. It's very, very, very strong. This combination of AA, which you'll see in a little bit, I believe I have a clip in where we just shred through some midway planes, I think, in a couple seconds. The AA is very, very good with defensive fire up. You have a decent heal. Your HP pool is a little low, but that's why I run Survivability Expert. And this unlimited reload booster, I think a lot of people are seeming to say it's overpowered, this ship. I really don't think so. I think it's just a really hard ship to play, and that if you know how to play cruisers really well, especially light ambush style cruisers, you're going to have a great time in this ship. But I think the vast majority of people are going to find themselves in situations where it's just really hard to get damage, and it's really difficult to play this ship without overextending and dying. I think that's a difficult balance to take. And you'll see here that I'm actually trying to stay near this Yamato. This is something you can definitely do in an Austin, where this Yamato would die to the carrier if I wasn't here. But since I'm here, I'm able to actually help out and defend this Yamato with our AA. That's something I think good AA ships should be trying to do. It's something I try and do in my Holland as well. Holland, of course, has insane AA for a destroyer. And I often will play around my teammates when there's a carrier in the game. And then when the carrier comes with, for example, AP dive bombers on a Moskva or a Stalingrad or something like that, I'll pop defensive fire to protect them. Because they're also my protection against the CV as well. So it kind of works both ways where you can help your teammates out like that. But you can see I'm just trying to play this pest roll. I'm not engaging all the time. I'm just trying to deter the enemy team from pushing here. Because you can see the majority of their forces are here. We've won the other side. They're pushing through. And we're just trying to delay and hold here. And a bow-in Yamato that has AA support is going to be really difficult for the enemy team to pull out. And then I'm just waiting for my reload booster, and I'm just, you know, hitting a Hindenburg for half his HP in 10 seconds. Right, I probably should have switched to the L-Big earlier when my reload boost was up. But still, dealing half HP to that Hindenburg is pretty hilarious. This sap is very good. You'll notice I've been mainly using sap, and that's because I can pinpoint where I want the shots to go. We talked about this in the Marco Polo video, where the Marco Polo sap, while good, is not as good as cruiser sap because the dispersion is bad. And with bad dispersion, it means it's really difficult to hit the spots on the ship where you're going to deal the most damage. And your shells won't shatter. You're not going to hit super saturated areas where your shells deal very little damage, all that stuff. You'll see this L-Big took a torpedo, and wow, Fletcher torpedoes hurt a lot. And then he shoots, and I think the Yamato's in range to detect him from his smoke. So that's just kind of game over for him, honestly. Because this sap does a lot of damage. Even without the reload booster, your damage output is okay. It's vastly lower. It's dramatically different, the damage output. But if you get good sap salvos every 7 seconds with this build, it's pretty solid. It's a ship, though, that if you got caught out, you die. This Austin is on, 3/4 HP, and he's going to die here because he pushed up a little too aggressively. And Austin versus Austin fights are scary because you both counter one another very, very, very hard. So you got to watch out for that. If there's an enemy Austin around, you got to play careful because your ship can get absolutely crushed by this DPM. So that's an example there of somebody who played a little too aggressive. Now for my example of me playing too aggressive. I played really poorly this game. The Yamato got incredibly lucky to bow on Citadel me. I'll show you later, but he's pretty proud of that fact. Yeah, this armor is very trollish and it's very difficult to Citadel this thing when it's bow on. And even broadside, you shouldn't be Citadeling this ship very much because it's so skinny. You're probably going to overpen. But you see, I just go into B, lose half my HP, and then I peace out. 0 damage. This ship wants to stop enemy pushes. The goal of this ship is to be in front of an enemy team that's pushing. And so that's what I do. I go play over here on this side of the map, and this once goes dark, so I can't actually deal that much damage to him. You can see only 900. That's something to consider, is you want to pop your reload booster when you know an enemy ship is going to stay spotted for your 15 seconds. Because if they go dark, well, you're just going to be in a pretty bad scenario, I would say, where you've wasted your reload booster. And it's not that you've wasted a consumable charge, it's more that you have to wait the cooldown now until it's up again. And you can see the enemy team doesn't push here anymore, so I'm like, okay, well, where do I go? I've got 2,000, less than 2,000 damage, and we're nearing the 12-minute mark. Yeah, I did nothing this game for 8 minutes. And you can see, I'm like, okay, now they have to push out of A, right? That's my thought process here. I'll set up here, they have to push into B, and then I'll have a decent shot at dealing damage to these people as they push in. I decided to reverse a little bit more to maybe get some shots in his Smolensk. My aim was really bad this day, too. And the Yamato gets a pretty lucky hit there again. So, yeah, this ship can die very, 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 very quickly. And you can lose your ship without dealing very much damage. Here I want to show you a bit of a test on different destroyers. You can see the Kaba is actually very strong against the sap on this ship. It takes a full reload booster and it only loses half of its HP. That's a really, really, really good result for a destroyer. You'll see that in a little bit here, that once you have a destroyer that you can just full pen everywhere, it dies very, very, very quickly. This sap is very good against destroyers. You saw me dev strike that Kiev at the start, and, well, just look at how much different the Kleber is compared to a Kaba. If you're hitting areas of a ship that you can pen, yeah. These ships die fast. Very, very, very fast with the reload booster up. Now keep in mind, you do need to have a reload booster active in order to have that crazy DPM. So here, without a reload booster active, we're still getting those chunky salvos. They just don't come in very often. So the enemy ship has time to angle or just even dodge the salvos. It's easier to dodge a shot that's every 7 seconds compared to every 2 seconds or less with the reload booster. And we still kill him relatively quickly, I would say, but it's nowhere near what a reload booster would do. Here's a daring that's a little farther away. Same ship as you just saw. And when we pop our reload booster, it is a dramatic change in the time it takes to kill the ship. It is ridiculously fast. So that's why I like to play this ship as kind of a pest, like I talked about earlier. You want to get yourself into a situation where you're going to be dealing a ton of damage very quickly, and then get out. I don't necessarily think just spamming over an island is the best way to play this ship. It's an option, for sure. And you'll see me do it this game when my reload boost isn't up. But when my reload boost is active, I'm trying to play aggressive. I'm trying to get myself into scenarios where I'm going to deal a critical blow to an enemy ship. That's really what I'm trying to do with this thing. Here, you see the AA, we did, all right there. I think that was actually fighter planes, so that doesn't actually matter that much. But an Austin here has me caught out in a bad spot. I'm caught out in front of everyone. I believe this was a streamed game, and I definitely said, I'm dead here. I played too aggressive, I'm dead. So that was my thoughts here. But we actually managed to live because I think the radar runs out just as the Austin pops his reload booster. So if the Austin had popped his reload booster a little sooner, I think I definitely would have died. Yeah, so the radar runs out and the Austin has his reload booster up. He should have popped that a little sooner and he would have definitely killed me. It's difficult to know when to pop the reload booster though. It's not easy. The Stalingrad got really wide. I had no idea he was there. So nearly got caught out there. Playing really aggressive in this ship can yield some great results. And that's what's going to happen in this game. This is one of my better games I've had so far in this ship. One of the more fun experiences too. I think that's what this ship is. I think it's a fun ship. I think it's hard to play. But it's really fun to deal this much damage this quickly to people. So now we get a little bit of payback on the Austin, and we find the little gap where we can still shoot him. And there we go, first kill already. Now, I still think I'm dead here, because this Stalingrad could just kind of push in and kill me, because our Montana is suiciding next to us. I'm not actually showing it, but you can see in the top left there. Our Montana is basically dead, that's in A, and there's another Montana about to follow him. So we're going to be down ships over here, and the enemy team has a reasonable number of ships here, so we're probably just going to get surrounded and killed here. So I have to make a play. And what I'm thinking is, if this Stalingrad pushes through this gap, there's a middle gap here between this island next to me, to my left, and then there's another island farther to my left. Sometimes these ships like to push into that gap. You get really good radar control, you're bow on to the enemy, and you're providing a good crossfire from this Stalingrad's perspective. If he rushes me, I do have torpedoes. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get ready for. I'm trying to think about how am I going to get out of this situation. The problem is that Republic, honestly, right now. If that Republic wasn't there, I would be able to YOLO rush this Stalingrad, and I would be able to just torp them. Because again, we have Fletcher torps, and they're very strong. But that Republic means we're going to most likely die while we try and get our torpedoes off. And I would rather just wait here and play it safe. An opportunity will present itself to get some torps off. That's what I'm thinking. I'll probably die for it, but I'll at least hit some torpedoes. That's what I'm going for. I think Austin can excel in these scenarios. You just have to know what to look out for. So you can see the Stalingrad kind of going for that mid-gap. And that's really what I'm hoping. I'm hoping the Stalin goes for that mid-gap, and I am able to get out of here. You can see me start to run away. But then I notice he's turned in, and there's no way I can run away from him now. Fortunately, though, the Republic has moved, and that is why this play works. The Republic is not holding this angle with the Stalingrad. It also helps the Stalingrad didn't have his turrets pointed the correct way. So we're able to get our torpedoes off, bounce the majority of what the Stalingrad had to offer, and our torpedoes do the rest. Here I'm just trying to heal, but I fat finger and I hit the reload boost, so I just decided to reload boost this guy anyway. Definitely a misplay on my part, but we got the Stalingrad, and you notice how I would have died if the Republic had stayed on the one line. The reason this play worked is because I got lucky. I definitely got very lucky this game to pull this one out. So I can go dark here, and there's nothing they can do to kill me because there's big islands and even spot me. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually turn around, get ourselves kited away, and then we're going to try and farm these guys over the islands as they push in. Because they do have a numbers advantage here, kind of. At least they did. Now they're probably just going to stall out and sit there, so we want to get into a decent position to farm them over the island. This is what I was talking about. When your reload booster is down within this ship, you want to just find a decent spot to farm people over an island. You don't want to overcommit and play aggressively. The only time you can do that is when your reload boost is up, and you know you can kill the enemy ship you're going to be fighting. It's a pretty awkward scenario that's happened to me a few times, where you go and fight a ship 1v1, you get your reload booster out, you nearly kill the ship, but you don't quite kill them. They get a heal off, and then you're just stuck there in front of them in your incredibly squishy light cruiser with very little DPM left. And you're just like, oh, I guess I'm dead now. That's happened a couple times. So picking your battles in this ship is the important thing. And it's all of this decision making, guys, that makes me say the ship isn't overpowered. It's not an easy ship to play. Yes, you can just sit behind islands like this, but even situations like this don't come up all the time. Like the game I showed you previously, where I got 0 damage and died. It happens. Those games do happen, because the tier 10 meta, as we all know, is very passive. So having a light cruiser with 15 kilometers of range, floaty gun arcs, that relies kind of on ambushing people, is a difficult ship to play in this meta. It's a very, very, very hard ship to play in this meta. So ships like Thunderer, you can just clobber, honestly. The sap is just that good. You'll notice I haven't shot much HE this entire video, and that might be a weakness of mine, that I haven't shot any HE at all. Here I probably should be, honestly, because I'm only going to pen his superstructure, and I should be trying to get fires as well as damage out of him. Yes, the sap can pen his rear deck armor and the bow armor, but that's pretty unlikely. You're really just penning the superstructure. So in scenarios where you're only going to pen the superstructure, you probably want to use the HE and get those fires. That's what I would say. When you can pen in scenarios where you're able to pen the belt armor, let's say the upper belt armor of the enemy ship, so that's a lot of battleships, even Yamato. You should be aiming for those scenarios because they saturate less than a superstructure, so you're going to get more damage for more amount of time out of the sap. And of course the sap has just higher alpha. I think it's 1,000 higher alpha damage, so it's definitely worth considering using primarily sap in this ship with HE only when you're gonna pen the superstructures only. Here I pop my reload booster to get the Republic. It's arguable about the use of HE here as well. You can see the sap does pretty good damage, but then he decides to fully bow into me. So it's debatable whether the HE would have been better here. It probably would have been, but the sap still gets the job done. And there's our Kraken. We got 150k and a Kraken this game. Crazy, right? Considering that initial position I was in. It's a good ship, guys. I wouldn't call this ship underpowered, but I also wouldn't call this ship overpowered. It has its niche. It's a very specialized ship. And as people get used to playing against it and fighting it and knowing how to counter it, I think you'll see it get slightly worse than it is currently. Right now, people don't understand that it has 32 millimeters of upper belt armor. They don't understand that the battleships will just bounce off of it at close ranges. And I have been abusing that in this video, as you can tell. You're going to have to play much safer in the future, because people are going to know that just use HE and this thing dies very quickly. You have 30,000 HP of health. I have 34,000 because I run Survivability Expert with Ovechkin. That's probably, I think, the better way to build this ship, because oftentimes you do die pretty quickly in this ship. So, popping our reload booster for the Venezia yet. This has turned out to be a solid carry game, honestly. I'm pretty happy with how this game went. I had a ton of fun with this one, and oftentimes that's what this ship is. You get really fun games where your decisions matter a lot. And that's why I enjoy this ship a lot, is because it's all about decision making. It's not really about, really ridiculously boring consistency like the aircraft carriers are, or something like a Thunderer where you sit at the back and there's not really any counterplay to you. This ship, there's a ton of counterplay, but it's really, really strong in those very niche scenarios with the reload boost, and that's why I like it. So a nice carry there, and a really fun game. So the build for the Austin is, I think, a pretty simple one at the moment. I'm running Ovechkin with the SE, Survivability Expert, and that does give you a little bit extra HP. But even normally, I think you should still take Survivability Expert. I've found that Consumables Expert is very good, reducing the reload time. I picked this because I was tired when I made this build, and I thought for some reason that it would increase the duration of my reload boost. It does not, so don't take this. I would take either Priority Target or Expert AA. Maybe Pyrotechnician for the 1 extra percent, because you only have 10% fire chance. So I don't know, it's debatable. And actually, you have 10%. I'm just realizing you have 10% fire chance, so you get quite a few fires when you pop your reload booster. Anyways, I think the more important thing though is heavy HE and sap. Getting that extra alpha out of the sap is very, very good. And you don't have the downside of the increased concealment, because your guns are really small caliber. So the build I would probably run is Consumables Expert, probably Expert AA or Priority Target. I would prioritize one of those two. And then I would probably get Survivability Expert first, and then Concealment, and then Superintendent, and then Heavy HE and Sap, and then Adrenaline Rush. That's the kind of order I would do things in. It's debatable for some other skills. Perhaps you want IFHE. I can see that working if you're trying to use your HE against cruisers, but I think your Sap is just better, and this really nerfs your fire chance when you do use your HE. So I think that's a pretty reasonable build for this ship. I'm running reload mod because that makes the most sense, considering base you have like a 7.5 or 8 second reload. Range mod I don't think is going to be good because the shells are just too floaty at longer ranges. Concealment, pretty obvious for a ship like this. You get a nice 9.3 kilometers concealment. I've been using prop mod because there's scenarios when you get behind islands when you need to accelerate quickly, and that definitely helps with that. I'm actually running torpedo tubes mod because your turrets turn really quickly, your AA is good enough already, and aiming systems on guns that have pretty good dispersion already isn't going to do a whole lot. So buffing the torpedo speed up to 69 knots is pretty nice, I would say. Engine room protection, pretty standard, I think, for a light cruiser. And then main armaments mod 1, because your guns do get knocked out reasonably often. I like this ship, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this is a solid pickup for Steel. No, it's not the most competitive ship. No, it's not the easiest ship to use. It's not overpowered. I think it's fun, and I think it's unique, and I think that is what you're trying to get out of a Steel ship. Out of a reward ship, you should have a ship that's unique and fun, but not overpowered. And I think that's what this ship is. I think they've done a great job with it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my review of it. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.